Muslims taking over city streets and forcing absolute hell on white people they're singling out. The left continues to push that Islam is a religion of peace, and anyone to say anything different is racist and Islamophobic. Countries around the world have been struggling to keep up with the massive influx of Muslim refugees flooding over their borders on a daily basis. Even in America, there are cities and towns that have been overrun by these refugees and migrants. These Muslims refugees do not desire to assimilate to their culture but are only concerned with Islamic domination by violent means. That was recently shown when a group of Muslims took over city streets and began to ask white people one telling question before violently attacking them. Over the last several years, liberals have been adamant about bringing thousands of Muslim refugees into countries around the world. These refugees often hail from war-torn areas in order to make this appear as a humanitarian effort. However, most of these refugees that are entering the United States or European nations are hardly women and children. These refugees are mostly young men who are here to conquer the Western world for their global caliphate. Of course, the left will say that is not true and that the Muslim community is loving and accepting of all people. Well, is hardly the case after what transpired in Liverpool, England recently that should send chills up your spine. A gang of Muslim men began to attack white non-Muslims after asking them if they were Christian or Muslim. When the gang of Muslims asked one man named Gary Bohanna the question, he revealed that he was a Christian. After Bohanna said that he was a Christian, the Muslim gang began to violently attack him, and use racist language. However, instead of the police arresting these men and charging them with a hate crime, it was dismissed. Here is more from Creeping Sharia. A gang of Muslim men rampaged through Liverpool city centre attacking strangers because they were white non-Muslims. The drunken men targeted 3 unknown men before Mohammed, 24, and Mohammed, 20, set upon Gary Bohanna when he revealed he was Christian. Laughing Farouk, 19, who was not convicted of a racial or religious motive, then filmed Mohammed punching St. Helens councillor Paul Lynch to the ground, as his terrified girlfriend tried to protect him. The judge, Recorder Louise Brendan, said, "This was a disgraceful and sustained campaign of violence carried out on the streets of this city." Paul Treble, prosecuting, said fellow Muslim Idris Nasrati spotted 2 of the gang attacking a man in Bolt Street at around 3:30 am. He said, he was concerned because one of them seemed to be using racist language, talking about Muslims and Christians. One of them came up to Mr. Nasrati and said, "Are you a Muslim?" Mr. Nasrati said he was, but the man said, "Well, what's the Muslim word?" He said Mr. Nasrati replied with a well-known Arabic phrase, "There is only one God, and Muhammad is a messenger." Mr. Treble said, he said it's a phrase often linked with ISIS. He was concerned as to their exact intent and that they might be associated in some way to an extremist organization. Mr. Nasrati was told you can go, but when he tried to stop them punching another man, one replied, "It's none of your business." He followed the gang to Renshaw Street, where Mr. Bohanna was asked, "What are you?" The victim was confused, but when one of them said, "I'm a Muslim, what are you?" he answered, "I'm a Christian." The attacker shouted, "Why aren't you a Muslim?" before punching him twice, breaking his glasses and causing a 2 centimeters cut above his left eye. The gang then encountered Mr. Lynch, Labour councillor for Moss Bank, and his girlfriend Jill Newton. Footage taken by Farouk captured Mohammed punch Mr. Lynch with a sickening blow that could be seen and heard. Mr. Nasrati called the police, but Farouk fled, so the witness chased and caught him. The teenager punched Mr. Nasrati and struck him in the eye with his phone, but the hero held on. Mr. Bohanna and Mr. Lynch, who suffered bruising and bleeding to his eyes, were taken to the hospital. Mohammed made no comment to police, but later claimed he could not remember anything because he was so drunk. Muhammad initially denied the assaults and suggested they had been racially abused by other men. However, he confessed to targeting people because they were white and non-Muslim. Mohammed, of Perrendale Rise, Bolton, and Mohammed, of East Bank Street, Bolton, admitted racially or religiously aggravated assault causing actual bodily harm. The pair, along with Faryuk, of Crumpsall Street, Bolton, also admitted assault causing actual bodily harm and affray. The judge said, references to the fact he was not a Muslim was made and you appeared to justify your actions because of certain beliefs you held. Recorder Brandon said after the joint enterprise attack on Mr. Lynch, frightened Miss Newton had no idea what you were going to do next. She said Mohammed confirmed those targeted that night were targeted because they were white and non-Muslim. Of course, the left does not want this story exposed since it shows how violent Muslims are towards white Christians. If we are not careful, this will soon happen in our own cities and towns, and we must fight against it. Liberal politicians will not stand and protect our country from those who wish to cause it harm. It may be too late for certain parts of Europe, but it isn't for America. But we must expose the truth and stand against this violent religion. Share to expose the truth. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe Breaking News 365 channel. Goodbye and see you again.